Are you recording?
I am.
Nice!
Yeah, I just recorded that big old belch.
My trucker burp.
Excuse me. That was a smelly one.
What does Fiona say? Better out than in?
Yes, come here.
Oh, another appearance, careful.
Another appearance. She's like, another video. I want to be in this one too.
Hey.
Hi. Okay, let's turn you around so you can see.
Doesn't wear my...
Can you guys smell her? She smells so good. She got groomed this morning.
Do we have smell-o-vision?
We
Only
do.
Willy Wonka
Yeah.
has that.
Oh, no, we don't. He has Oompa Loompas too.
I know, right?
Right.
I want an Oompa Loompa.
Well, we have Annie. Annie, can you?
I want one now, Daddy. Isn't that what she says?
Yes.
Veruca.
It is.
Baruka. I haven't watched that movie in a long
It's been a
time.
while. Which one's your favorite? The original?
Oh, of course. And action.
So hello.
Hi.
Welcome to the new...
Louqshire Expediting Adventures 2.0.
Yeah, sure. 2.0. Right. You know, there's something we didn't talk about in our last two videos. There was a big momentous occasion that passed, and we didn't even address it. We've been out here for 2 years now.
We didn't address it?
We did not address
Wow.
our 2-year anniversary.
It's come and gone.
It's come and gone. It was 2 months ago. July 1st was our 2-year anniversary, and we did not talk
Didn't
about
I
it.
buy balloons and hats for 1 year?
Yes,
And
you
we
did.
celebrated in the truck? Yeah, we did.
We did, because we celebrated in the truck before we went across to Tijuana that
Yeah.
one time.
Wow.
Yeah.
No
So-
hats, no balloons,
No,
no
but
streamers.
happy anniversary to
Woo!
us. 2 years. We've been out here on
Wow.
the road. And we've learned a lot in those 2 years.
We've done a lot. Sorry, I was having like a whole
Yeah, just
Movie-
wondered what was going on
movie
there.
screen. Like,
Yeah.
where were you? I just was thinking about
Right.
everything we've done. It
Everything
doesn't
we've
feel
done.
like 2 years.
Doesn't feel like... Do
I
you
mean,
feel
it
like,
does, but it doesn't.
Do you feel like you're a more accomplished driver now than you were 2 years ago?
Oh, I think about that all the time.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny? Well, you and I have talked about that. How navigating something that appears to be hard, K-rail,
Right.
in construction, toll booths
Toll
that are
booths.
super
How
narrow.
are toll booths for you now?
I still go slower
still freak
than
out?
whatever. I don't freak out. I just go slow and steady.
What's the thought that goes through your head when you start going through a toll booth?
Mrs. Crafty said I can do it. Mrs. Crafty said I can do it. If y'all don't watch Crafty Trucker videos, they're no longer making them, but they have some really great content.
Really good.
And before coming out here 2 years ago, I watched one of her videos where she was talking from a female's perspective, and she had made mention how she was afraid of toll booths, and they are super narrow. And if you've never driven in them, you know, I can't say I've driven in any in Texas, which is where they hail from. We hail from Oregon and California. Never really been through anything like that, like what you have here on the East Coast. And they're super narrow. And you go from 65, 55, 45, do they want you to go like 15 or less through these things? So every time I go through them, or the first time for sure, I'm like Mrs. Crafty said that I'll fit. So I knew I would be successful and go through them. But I still say that 2 years later, Mrs. Crafty says I can make it. So
But we're seeing a lot of them going away now, where they're going to the...
keep moving.
Keep moving, you know, they're not boosts, they're...
It's a big old bar that just
across the
takes
top
your
that takes the scan of
whatever
your Easy Pass, and you keep going, so...
So we just totally, you know, off topic there, but 2 years, I do feel much more confident.
Right.
Which
Right.
I know when I tested out, that was one thing that my examiner had told me. He's like, you just need more confidence. And I'm like, well, I've only been driving for 10 hours.
And you develop that confidence over time.
Sure.
The examiners, I think, recognize that you're brand new at this, and you're not going to be an expert, obviously, when you go out and take your test. But
Yeah.
you know, you develop that confidence over time. You learn your equipment, you learn the roads. You get that practice.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you. Happy
Yeah.
anniversary to you as well.
Thanks.
Happy anniversary, Annie.
All right. So
Yeah.
what's topic today?
We're going to talk
Since we
about
just
something
totally talked that you're gonna
well,
pick
I
three
was going to
tolls.
segue into it.
Yeah.
About things that we've learned out here in the last 2
Yes.
years.
Okay.
And one of the things that we've learned that's super important is knowing your numbers. Understanding when you have a load offer and, oh, what a sweetie.
Are you giving love?
She is.
That's a sweet hug. Okay.
So
Squirrel.
understanding when you get a load offer, what those numbers mean, and when you're going to counter a load offer with a counter offer, understanding what you're asking for. And in our case at Panther, if you just throw out a flat rate and you don't know what those numbers mean, they might come back and ask you what you're looking to do with that money. Are you looking to relocate? Are you looking just for a bonus just because? They might ask you, and if you don't have a good answer, they're not likely to give it to you. But understanding the exact amount you're asking for whatever purpose, whether it's a relocation or a hand load, and knowing how those numbers break down can make or break you. Remember that one time early on when we were negotiating a load and we were offered, I forget what the number was, but we asked for, let's say, full rate, and we were countered with a flat number, and I did the math in my head real quick, and that flat number ended up being like 25 cents a mile. Remember that way back?
Yeah.
Yeah. And if I hadn't done the math in my head and I just took that number, that sounded good as a whole number, but in reality was really poor, we would have been stuck with a load that didn't pay very well. It wouldn't have broken us, but it wouldn't have been our worth either. So we're looking at trying to maximize our value. Our time, our equipment is worth something. The amount of fuel that we use has a cost associated with it. You look like you're just chomping at the bit to say something.
Yeah, and you're going to cut this out.
Okay.
Is this?
So it's important that you do some basic math, that you understand what your financial needs are and are able to put those financial needs into a number that works for a given load and for you, and know what your bottom number is in order to take a load.
Yeah.
Right? So when they counter, if they counter, you again know what their counter means, what those numbers mean, and if is it within your range, or is it too low to be, I don't want to say worthy, is it too low to accept? If it's outside of your range and doesn't suit your business, you can say yes or no. Again, that's kind of Panther specific as far as refusing a load. But if you don't know your numbers, you can certainly get stuck in the middle of somewhere you don't want to be because you didn't negotiate properly or do the math and figure out what that looks like.
Do you think that could work for most? Obviously, we're not privy to other trucking companies and what your arrangement is and how you get paid for mileage or any of that stuff, but just on the topic of knowing your numbers, like what are you getting paid? What is your company specific, not just Panther, but what is your company specific offering you? How does that break down to, and maybe you're shopping around, right? Because you want to find the right fit for you. And maybe that's why you watch our videos, but what are they offering? You know, how are you maximizing money? Is that what you're basically saying?
Yeah,
how are you maximizing money for your business needs?
I think that works in different scenarios, not just in our model as independent contractors, where we work for a percentage of the load. Basically, we make 40% of what the load pays, less the fuel surcharge and tolls. We know people that are company drivers that run for a percentage. So in that case, you want to know how much the load pays and what your percentage is. If you're a company driver and you make a rate per mile, understanding what that is important. Are you getting paid the same rate for deadhead as well as loaded miles? What are your accessorials paying? You know, what are you getting paid for drop and hook or layover or detention? those things are important too, not just, again, as the independent contractor model, but also as a company driver. If you're delivering to XYZ food distributors and you've got lumpers unloading you, what are you getting paid to sit there for 4 or 5 hours while the lumpers unload you and go through and count everything? And if you've ever pulled a reefer, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But
Right.
what's that look like as far as your pay? So not just in our situation as independent contractors, but I think across the board in trucking in general, it certainly is important to understand what those numbers are, and if you are being paid what you think you're worth and your time is worth.
Yeah, I think that's the importance of the video is
Sure.
knowing your worth, and that requires you knowing your numbers.
Right.
And for us in the Panther model that we are in, there's some room to ask for, negotiate some certain things. So, and knowing what those numbers look like, are you making what you're worth? That your time is valuable. So,
If this lifestyle interests you, if you want to come out here and deal with the stress of doing math, calculating what your miles are, and what
It's
you're
pretty
getting paid,
simple.
It is simple. Reach out. Hyfield Trucking requires a Class B license, hazmat and tanker endorsements, a
About it.
partner. You got to have a partner. Hyfield won't play matchmaker, so you got to bring your own partner with those same endorsements: a Class B, hazmat, and a tanker endorsement.
Minimum Class B.
You got to have the desire to come out here and work hard, play hard, and just enjoy the lifestyle. But hit us up on the Facebooks, on the Instagrams.
Like and
leave
subscribe.
us a comment below.
Yep, below, leave
Yeah.
comments. If you have questions.
Like and subscribe.
Concerns.
We're happy to answer your questions.
Yeah,
Yeah,
do your research.
do your research.
That's right.
And
Know your
don't-
numbers.
Know your numbers, and don't leave money on the table.
Bye. Annie says bye too. The lawnmower's scaring her. She's scared. Bye.